Hi, everyone. I'm Gold Derby News and Features Editor Ray Richmond, and I'm here today with Amy Schumer, the creator, producer, co-writer, co-director, and star of the Hulu romantic dramedy series Life and Beth that launched its second season in February. Amy, Life and Beth is such a charming show, and you explore so much that's personal and semi-autobiographical. Where do you think this candor to be kind of an open book comes from? Was it the way you were raised?
I have always been like this. I don't really know why. I think I've just always had a low threshold for small talk and um yeah, and so I can't really help it. I've gotten better. I'm a little more housebroken, but I've always kept it pretty real and cut right to the bone.
Your fearlessness in being so earnest about your Judaism in the show and addressing it in both the series and in your personal public life is pretty refreshing also. Why do you feel that's so important to kind of lead with that sometimes?
Um, I thought I really wanted to show my relationship to Judaism and the anti-Semitism I grew up with. Uh and also show some Jewish joy, some, just some sweet menorah lighting. Because it's my reality and it makes me feel less alone when I see, whenever you see something represented um that you can really connect to and good for other people to see it too. And um I'm really grateful to my ancestors. I know my history and I know that, that history didn't there's no definitive start point to history. So I like to deal in the truth. And so that's the only way I know how to operate
The
through
truth in Hollywood? Seriously?
the truth, the historic truth and the truth today.
Did you really iron your hair to look less Jewish?
Yes.
But you
With
don't
an
do that.
iron, with an ironing board, with an iron, yes. I think a lot of women will remember those days. It wasn't always flat irons, ladies. You had to use a real iron and usually an ironing board.
Did you experience anti-Semitism in a similar way to what we see with young Beth in the show?
Yes, yes. It was sort of just explained to me and shown to me that I should be embarrassed about being Jewish and grew up around a lot of, you know, Jew jokes and wasn't allowed in the, country, like there were no Jewish families in some of the country clubs, some of the,
Right.
and hey, you can always say other people had it worse and they did. And but this is my truth and this is what I experienced. So just growing up, like I didn't meet anyone who was proud of being Jewish until I was in college. I was really surprised that there was like a Hallel and they weren't like, I was like, you're not ashamed of being Jewish. And so that's why I've really tried to be so proud of it. And through the few of my ancestors who survived the Holocaust, I feel like it's the least I can do.
Well, I should then come clean and actually say that I am Jewish as well, um, even though my name would not indicate that. Um, uh,
Well, maybe it was changed.
uh,
Maybe it's Richmond to Witzenberg
it
and
was actually, it should be Diamond, but that's a whole other story. My father took his mother's name instead of his father's name in order to, you know, to be able to blend. But and I'm not proud of that, frankly. Maybe I'm descended from Neil Diamond myself. Who knows?
you wish.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Are you finding any or much anti-Semitism directed at you since the Hamas attack last October and the subsequent war?
Um, uh, I would say that would be an incredible understatement.
Yikes. Really unfortunate, but good for you for having the courage to stand out there and stand up for what you believe.
Thank you. If I had the capacity to shut my mouth, I would have done it a long time ago, but it's just not in the cards for me.
Well, that's just part of your charm, though. Let's get
Oh,
back to the show. What was your goal going into season two, Amy, and how to evolve the characters, Beth and John in particular?
um, my goal was, I think this season is, there's a lot of different goals with it, and I always ultimately want people to feel uh more empathetic with themselves and feel seen and feel better and also make them think about their own lives. I hope they see I hope it makes them think about their own lives and reflect in that way. It was also a love letter to my husband, uh, showing the beauty and the struggle and us both trying to understand each other better um and the strength of the friendships and how, your family and your friends are a constant negotiation. And yeah, I set out to do a lot with this show. Um, and even though it's not in a kitchen, I think it's still worth making. That's a
It's
bear
an
joke.
Thank you. Yes, I got that.
Okay, thank
You're
you,
right.
thank you.
Even though everyone
Jokes are
is
only
not,
really funny if you explain them after.
no, the thank you. Yes, the fact that it's not mega intense and people aren't screaming at each other constantly. It's funny anyway.
Still, it's still worth making, I think.
It's you know, don't get actually maybe you should get me started on how much I love the show. Which is not just kissing your butt. I actually really do love it.
Thank you.
And you really frankly, one of the reasons I do is you really frankly address the question of whether John is on the autistic spectrum, and Michael Cera is so good in the way he plays it. How closely does the way it's incorporated into season two hew to the reality in your own life and marriage with Chris?
It's it's definitely not a documentary, and there were like, there's a big collaboration with the other writers. But it's, it's really in there. We are very reflected in almost all of these scenes. Um, yeah, and I think it's pretty relatable to most couples. I had so many friends text me after and go, I think my husband's on the spectrum, it's uh and yeah, we're definitely reflected in there, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
It's incredible how many people do have uh, friends and or relatives on the spectrum in some fashion. And this is where I disclose that my adult son is also high functioning on the ASD spectrum, which made it particularly tough for me to watch your fourth episode of season two, which I know you directed and which is just brilliantly done. And it's in some ways heartbreaking. The flashback to how the other kids mock him in school, sweeping on the front lawn after John's mom dies, it just destroyed me.
I'm sorry about that. That um yeah, that was a really tough episode. I think a lot of people recognize someone they love or themselves in it. And it's like it's that same thing. It's the Viola Davis thing. Like, they survived. They did it. They're good. And I I wouldn't change anything about my husband, except I wish he knew that he wasn't 18 and that he would be a little more gentle on his body when it comes to activities. But yeah, I mean, he's my he's my favorite person. He's my partner, and he's the best. And as you know, like your son, I'm sure it's like there's so many other things. Being on the spectrum is, that label is just it's such a, microcosm of it.
And you see so many negatives associated with it, Amy. But the truth is, a lot of what it's a lot of what gives them their charm and decency and loveliness are issues that are on the spectrum.
I know. I really don't like that it's autism spectrum disorder. Like I feel like that's a misnomer. I don't like that it's looked at as a disorder, because I definitely don't feel that way. It's like maybe we're the ones with the disorder, like
I have given that a lot of thought
yeah,
and realized that maybe we have it exactly backwards.
yeah.
How much input does Chris have as a writing consultant? I mean, did working together on that storyline ever create any issues with you guys?
No, he was very involved, and read every word, and watched every frame, and his therapist who diagnosed him, Kimberly Gilbert, she was consulted. She took a pass on scripts. We really wanted to get it all right and accurate. And if there was anything that he flagged, it came out immediately. And he's just a good, not just for the autism stuff, he's just helped the scripts in general. He just, all my work, his touches on, and that's one of the ways that we first connected, is just that we loved the same stuff and we thought the same stuff was funny. Uh, and there were moments where we struggled. I think he just felt really vulnerable, because there aren't many people sort of out, any adults out in the public eye that openly have autism, which was, is so brave that he's willing to like put himself out there like that in a way that um it's like just something that's so clear to me. I'm sure it's clear to you, where it's like everybody else needs to catch up and this shouldn't be
Mhm.
stigmatized. I'm hoping that it follows suit the way that when I was younger, if somebody had ADHD, it was like kind of embarrassing. And now it's like everybody knows that, like everybody has it. And um yeah, and so we really wanted to do our part with moving the culture forward in that way. And then we went to see this play on Broadway called How to Dance in Ohio, and which has since closed, but it was really helpful for both of us understanding each other more. Like we try to understand each other more, and he understood where I was coming from, where I was really doing my best to be helpful, and I don't always get it right, and same for him. And yeah, and we just came out of this season and the experience closer than ever, and both really proud of it. And um yeah, I'm proud of each other.
Well, the honesty that you have in depicting this, it really seems to be part of your brand. As you say that you're sort of an open book and you don't really know a way to be any other way, but it's really pretty refreshing to
Thank
see.
you.
So when there are so many people, particularly in the public eye like you are, who are, as so many people on social media try to present the best picture and hide behind that. Whereas you're just sort of like, you put pictures out there with yourself with no makeup on and crappy, you know, run knock around clothes and just, sort of dare people uh, to appearance shame you. And, and I think in 2024, that qualifies as a heroic act.
Well, my family keeps me pretty grounded, so I can't really accept that, but I'll let myself feel good about that comment right now, just by myself.
Please do. Uh,
I'm
you
I'm just
know,
gonna walk downstairs. My son and husband, mommy's a hero.
yeah, please. It's been confirmed. Um,
The thing is, with everything going on right now, um, I think it's just felt really disappointing that it does feel like um like it could be deemed heroic, because I guess I just thought more people were going to speak up and speak out. Yeah, and it's just gotten so out of control, everything, and the narratives, and yeah. So I can sleep at night knowing I did what I could.
That's the bottom line. And back on the show, I love how Michael plays John's ASD in no way for really for laughs, yet at the same time, you don't run away from the comedic aspect of it. I mean, which is sort of a fine line to kind of walk.
Yeah.
We're given such a loving view of this unique and often totally logical way his mind works.
Thank you. Yeah, I love how Michael plays John, and he just like with total dignity and love, and um yeah, and he knows it's not a joke. It's but yeah, there are some moments where it is just you know, it's definitely comedic, you
And
know.
how cool to be able to work with women like Amy Sedaris and Jennifer Coolidge and Margaret Cho and Maria Bamford. Sort of like when you have your own show and you have that kind of freedom to be able to have people like that close by as your performers. What a treat that is.
So flattering that they said yes, like just that on its own is like it makes me feel like I've done something right. But actually getting to just play with them was so fun. It was the highlight of the season.
Is it difficult to exercise as many creative muscles and wear as many hats as you do on Life and Beth? Amy, I mean, writing, directing, overseeing as EP, and co-starring. Or you must be learning so much about the way these things work. And doing a show works while you're doing it.
We have such a great team and crew, and you know, Ryan McFall, Dan Powell, Kevin Kane, like, and our AD Adam Escott and Rob Barocci, um the DP, like it was a rare, peaceful, fun, collaborative, loving. I'm just set up so well where in some situations, especially being a woman, you can be made to um feel bad and be branded as something you kind of don't deserve for fighting for your vision. I've never had 1 second of that on this show or my sketch show. Uh, so I feel very fortunate about that. But patriarchy is a real living, breathing thing, and I think women can be painted in a bad light, sadly, really quickly. Um,
Women who
so
run things are so often branded as bitches, as you know.
right, bitchy, controlling, um, yeah, in a way that men are celebrated for. So,
Exactly.
um, I'm really proud of how I run a set and the example, uh, and the standard that I sort of create, and my love and appreciation for the crew and the equality that how the light I see everyone in, and I think that no one has a right to be any different than that, than the person running the show, if that's the standard you're setting.
We're going to leave things there. Uh, you can see all 20 episodes of the first 2 seasons of Life and Beth streaming on Hulu. Amy Schumer, good luck this Emmy season and in your life outside
Thank
of
you.
TV.
You too.
And
Say
thanks
hi
for
to your
joining
son,
us
and
at Full Derby.
I'll see you in Dubai. I'll see you on the Burj Khalifa.
That would be an honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.